Hello! In this video, we are going to study simple, compound, and complex sentences while we read about a historical event. Before we do that, I have this activity for you. Match each of the following words with its definition. You have the words, find the definition for each word, match them, and I will see you in a moment. Please pause my video to complete that. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for having done that. Let me show you the answers. All right. What is a priest? A priest is a person ordained to the sacerdotal or pastoral office. All right. Metropolis is any large or busy city. Good. What is a printing press? It's a machine for printing text or pictures from type or plates. What is funding? Funding is a supply of money as for some purpose. And finally, the easiest one, what is lack? You may remember this already. Deficiency or absence of something needed. That is lack. All right. Now we are ready to read the following text. Let's read it together. 1722. The first newspaper of Spanish America is published. Nice. In 1722, the priest Juan Ignacio Castorena Ursúa y Goyeneche founded in Mexico the first newspaper in Latin America. The newspaper was titled Gaceta de México y Noticias de Nueva España, and it was a monthly edition that published news of the city and news from the metropolis. The newspaper had sections dedicated to the different regions of the viceroyalty and commercial, social, and religious news. Although its founder had his own printing press, after some time, lack of funding forced him to stop publishing. So he didn't have money to continue to publish his newspaper. Right? Let's make sure that we understand some basic content of this passage. When was the first newspaper founded in Latin America? Yes, in 1722. Good. How often was it published? It was published monthly, means every month. Good. With that text, I would like to ask you to look at some structures of sentences that compose a paragraph. And there are many ways in which we can write. We can write simple, compound, and complex sentences. Let me extract some sentences from the passage to show you what a simple sentence is. All right? In a very succinct manner, a simple sentence is a sentence that has a subject and a verb. That verb may have a complement, an object or complement, of course, but very basically, it is one sentence with one subject and one verb that is conjugated with that subject. All right? We have an example from the text here. In 1722, the priest Juan Ignacio Castorena Ursúa y Goyeneche founded in Mexico the newspaper in Latin America. All that sentence seems long, but actually, if you look at it carefully, it just means he, that is, his whole name can be replaced with he. And what did he do? He founded a newspaper. Yes, there are some more elements there that would be the complement, but actually that is what the sentence says. He founded a newspaper. Someone founded a newspaper. That is a simple sentence. It has one subject and one verb conjugated with that subject. All right? That is what makes a simple sentence simple. A sentence simple. All right, let's see another example from the text. The newspaper had sections dedicated to the different regions of the viceroyalty and commercial, social, and religious news. Actually, what we're saying here is the newspaper had sections. You see? One sentence that has a subject and a verb conjugated with it. That is a simple sentence. All right? Now, we also have compound sentences. Compound sentences are sentences that go, yes, they start with a capital letter and end with a period, just as any other sentence, but they may have several subject-verb combinations that are joined by some particular words that I will show you in a moment. But what we have here is just separate sentences that we extract them. We could understand a complete idea with them, and that is what a compound sentence is one sentence that has one simple sentence joined to another simple sentence by means of a word that I will show you in a moment. To illustrate that from that text, I had to do something specific to a sentence from the passage because the passage had more complex sentences, let's say. So to illustrate this point, I I edited one part from the text to illustrate the point. So let me give you this example. The newspaper was titled Gaceta de México y Noticias de Nueva España, and it was a monthly edition. I'm going to stop the sentence there to illustrate what a compound sentence is. What do we have here? Two simple sentences in this example that I'm giving you. The newspaper had a title. That is one complete sentence. And the other part of the sentence would be, and it was a monthly edition. As you can see, it was a monthly edition is a complete separate idea that is simply joined to the other part of the sentence with the word and. That word and is what makes it a compound sentence. There are some words, we call them conjunctions, that join, we call them clauses. Actually, the actual name is clauses. They join, let's say, small sentences in a large sentence. Let's keep it like that. Those words are for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. They, because of their initials, you can see F, A, N, B, O, Y, and S, they call them fanboys. These words join sentences to compose or to make a compound sentence. Usually, these words are preceded by a comma that marks the end of the first sentence. In the example that I'm giving you, after the title of the newspaper, we have a comma and then we have the word and. All right? Depending on what type of relationship we have between the two sentences, we use for, which means because, or nor, which means it's a second negation, but, which implies contrast, or, which implies choice, yet, which implies contrast, and so, which implies effect. All right? But the point of having a compound sentence is having two simple sentences joined by these 7 words. All right? That is what a compound sentence is. But the most complex of them all is the complex sentence. What is a complex sentence? It is one sentence in which two simple sentences are joined by a special word that makes one sentence depend on the other. I'm saying loosely sentence here, but we're talking actually about clauses. And if you ever want to research this, they call them dependent or independent clauses. If we can extract an idea from a sentence, that is an independent clause. And if one clause depends on the other, we call that dependent clause. This happens to have dependent clauses. But to me, that was always a little complicated. So if we just say simple sentences and that one depends on the other, that might help us understand it better. So that word that joins the two sentences, I'm going to say clauses from now on. Those two clauses may be in the middle or at the beginning of the whole sentence that has the two clauses. Let me give you how this works. Give you an example of how this works. From the text, we have this. Although, which is the word that joins these two clauses, although its founder had his own printing press, Now we have the independent clause. After some time, lack of funding forced him to stop publishing. So what happens there? We cannot just say, although its founder had his own printing press, and stop there. We can't do that because the idea would be incomplete. All right? So if we have something like that, we are in the presence of a complex sentence. Why? Because its elements cannot be separated simply, but they have to depend on the other to complete the idea. All right? Another way of having a complex sentence is by the presence of a reduced clause. We call them reduced clauses, but let me tell you, it could be a word, it starts with a word that ends in ing or that ends in ed, which is a past participle. For example, in this case, lacking the necessary funding, actually that is like an abbreviation of because he was lacking the necessary funding. All right, that is a complete sentence that starts with because, but if we just say because he was lacking the necessary funding, the money, we cannot stop there. We need to complete the idea. That is a dependent clause. It depends on the rest of the sentence for the idea to be complete. All right? So another way of finding this is lacking the necessary funding, its founder was forced to stop publishing. That is a complex idea. All right? I know that this takes some processing, but let me give you some example of words or conjunctions that can join clauses to form a complex sentence. This is just an example. After, although, because, if, since, when we're talking about cause and effect, when or while. You can say, when I see you, I smile. I cannot just say, when I see you, what? No, I need to complete the idea. That's why I'm in the presence of a complex sentence. All right, that's the theory of this, let's say. But we cannot understand it unless we put this into practice. So I have this activity for you. It's simple because all you have to do is think of whether these sentences are simple, compound, or complex. Decide whether each of the sentences of the following text is simple, compound, or complex. All right? So I'm going to show you a paragraph. That is actually a whole paragraph. It's a whole idea developed there. But I have listed the sentences of that paragraph so that you can see them separately and so that it is easier for you to read them. But actually, they should be a complete paragraph. All right? The title is Independence from Spain and Portugal. So please look at the sentences, analyze, is that a simple, compound, or complex? And then I'll see you in a moment so that we can check your answers and read the text together. All right? Pause my video, complete the activity. I'll see you in a moment. All right. Thank you very much for having tried that. And here are the answers. Let's read them together. Spanish rule in the Americas ended in 1898 when they lost their last colonies to the United States after the Spanish-American War. All right? So, because we have the word when there, we cannot just have that clause hanging there. It is a complex sentence. It is a complex sentence because we have the word when there. Next, using the Napoleonic invasion of Spain as an excuse, most of Latin America declared its independence from Spain in 1810. All right? Using, we have a reduced clause there. So we have using. So in that case, it is a complex sentence. By 1825, Mexico, Central America, and South America were free, and Brazil quickly followed them. We have and. So because we have and, we're in the presence of a compound sentence. Right? With Spain and Portugal out of the way, the young American republics were free to find their own way. Right? I don't see subjects and verbs more than just the one that we have there. We're free. So it is a simple sentence. With Spain and Portugal out of the way, there is no verb or part of a verb there. So we are just in the presence of a simple sentence. All right? Now, I am going to pause my video so that you can listen to the native speaker pronounce this passage. You read with him so that you can practice your own pronunciation. All right? So I'm pausing my video now. Listen and practice, please.
Independence from Spain and Portugal, 1806 to 1898. Spanish rule in the Americas ended in 1898 when they lost their last colonies to the United States after the Spanish-American War. Using the Napoleonic invasion of Spain as an excuse, most of Latin America declared its independence from Spain in 1810. By 1825, Mexico, Central America, and South America were free, and Brazil quickly followed them. With Spain and Portugal out of the way, the young American republics were free to find their own way.
All right, excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you for considering understanding what a simple, compound, and complex sentence is so that you can make your writing richer when you use more complex and compound sentences to make more elaborate ideas. That is the purpose of all this exercise. All right? Thank you very much for your work, and I will see you in the next video.